Hey everybody. Hey everyone. Hope your Monday was a good one. And originally I was going to talk about the NFLPA situation, but it occurs to me that this whole matter uh, regarding the earthquake of last week and Saturday that rocked California, Southern California, and was felt in many parts of Las Vegas. Let me just say all of Las Vegas. Is still the topic du jour for many people who pay attention to what's happening in Las Vegas because they felt it. And it brings up something that I pointed to last year, and people thought I was all the usual, negative things, right? The Decatur Fault. And I said, that the Decatur Fault was basically 1 block away from the stadium. And it actually had ruptured. It is an active fault line. This is what it looks like. And for those of you who need a refresher course, this is what the Decatur Fault looks like and where it ends. Watch this. Here, okay. There are two faults that primarily impact the Las Vegas Strip in the area we're talking about here. One of them is something called the West Valley View Fault, but that's not the one that people point to as being active. This is the Decatur Fault. So West Valley Fault is this one, okay? But the Decatur Fault is here. This is the length of it. And look at where it ends. Okay, look at where it ends. Look carefully. That's I-15 and 215. Now, just north of that here, okay, that's Russell Road. That's where the stadium is, and the airport across from it, okay? This Decatur Fault is right next to the stadium. Right next to the stadium. In spite of that, the media does not tell you, Las Vegas media, they don't tell you about the problem of the stadium being near this fault. I'm the only person that has mentioned it. Watch this. This is about the Decatur Fault. Listen. This was produced, that was Tuesday, January 15th. I apologize. So that wouldn't be there. Let me move back here. Let's see here. So, news. There it is. This is 3 hours ago. Scientists aim to link the pieces from last week's earthquakes, right? This is by Denise Roche. And in the first paragraph, it reads, hundreds of fault lines have been mapped throughout Southern California, Nevada, including one on Alta Drive, the Decatur Fault. However, scientists know there are more out there, and Ridgecrest is one of those missing pieces. Let's listen to this. Now note, I showed you what the Decatur Fault really looks like. Now listen.
Summer starts now at the BMW
Beamer!
sales event.
Yeah, hundreds of fault lines have been mapped throughout Southern California and Nevada, including this one right here along Alta Drive. This is known as the Decatur Fault Line, but scientists know there are more out there, and Ridgecrest was one of those missing pieces.
The fault that went magnitude 7.1 was not a map fault.
Dr. Graham Kent says with every earthquake, scientists will learn something new, and Ridgecrest, California, no exception. Two powerful quakes last week, creating misery and destruction in the tiny desert community. And the existence of the fault line in question only hinted at Until now.
Went through the middle of the basin. No one knew about it. And so we see a lot of missing slip up here. In other words, we know there should be more earthquakes and more essentially shearing of the crust, and we don't see it. And we've always thought it might be beneath the basins. And lo and behold, the Ridgecrest earthquake sequence is showing us exactly what we kind of felt we knew already.
The two quakes powerful enough to cause water to slosh out of swimming pools and light fixtures to sway right here in Las Vegas. And Graham says you can blame our weak sediments for the shaking.
You live on jello, and so you're very susceptible to very large earthquakes, even if they're 100 or 200 miles away. The energy slows down and the amplitude grows and basically just reverberates in the basin.
Now, a team from Nevada is in Ridgecrest studying what happened, where, and why. Meantime, more aftershocks are expected to last for weeks or even months. The Earth far from settled. The secrets under Ridgecrest just now being told. Denise Roche, News 3.
Tomorrow, a lot of people will be watching a federal.
Okay, so note that they talked about the Decatur Fault, or she did rather, without even mentioning that it's actually where it terminates is near the stadium, arguably right next to it, right? And then she's mentioned something called Ultra Drive. So let's, play a little game here. Let's just take Ultra Drive, all right? And then Ultra Drive, Las Vegas. And let's just see where that takes us. Because she mentioned Ultra Drive, but she did not mention basically where, in other words, what the cross streets for Ultra Drive were, okay? So I'm looking at Ultra Drive now, and I'm widening it out here. Okay. Yeah. All right. So Ultra Drive is, she has us stopping at one area. Get this, here, okay? This is Ultra Drive. All right, she has this, but here's the thing. The Decatur Fault does not run this way. It actually runs this way. Watch what happens if we enlarge this out, like so, and we keep going. Okay. Now, if we go down south a bit here, actually, because it comes in through here, let me go back over this way, okay? And what we have is a situation where, yeah, there's McCarran Airport, there's 215. Remember the other map where it stopped? There's the Luxor, okay? And further down here is Mandalay Bay in this area. And then you see that big area right there? You know what that is, don't you? Across from 15. It's Raider Stadium. And so a block away, it's just about here, is where the Decatur Fault really is. Making is that if we go back to our original, and let's go up here to view, and then zoom in, and then zoom in again, and then zoom in again. Won't allow us to zoom in too much, will it? Zoom in. But let's try to get as close as we can. There's the real Decatur Fault. See how it runs? So obviously, she wasn't telling us the truth. They made it sound like the Decatur Fault was just in one area, okay? So you've got West Valley Fault and then the Decatur Fault here. You also have other faults, but this one is the one that is closest. And so it brings up a lot of questions that I tried to raise originally. like, did anyone know about the fault? Do they have any kind of contingency plan for this? And then once again, why this habit of avoiding what is in our collective face, right? Why? It's like it's like they want to be the paragons of positive thinking. It will never happen. Nothing is there. Nothing is there. Nothing is. Oops. That's bad planning, folks. Thousands, well, arguably millions of lives are impacted directly and indirectly. Not just thousands. Not just the people in the stadium, but the people who would work at the stadium, around the stadium, depend on the stadium for their livelihood in some kind of way. That affects millions of people. So to let this go as if it's a non-issue, it really is criminal. Yeah, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. The people that are involved in not giving this topic the attention it's due, if something bad happens, as far as I'm concerned, should be locked up for a week. Because it's plain that it's plain as day that there's a problem. I mean, here's another Decatur Fault. Look at this. Here's another Decatur Fault photograph. See this? Okay, there it again. Okay. Hey, on the radar gun. See that? Yeah, the Valley View Fault, right? The Valley View Fault is here, and then the Decatur Fault next to the parallel. But the Decatur Fault, look how far down it runs. All the way down to where 215 is, past the Raider Stadium in this one. See where it zigzags? Okay. So I need a more accurate map. That's pretty good. All right. That's scary stuff. That is scary stuff. And as Eric Young just wrote, it really does sound like a major catastrophe just waiting to happen. And, you read these ridiculous, really ridiculous takes like, well, an earthquake is a low probability. Well, we kind of know that, you know what I mean? Telling us that's a low probability doesn't help at all. Earthquakes, by their nature, as we've experienced them, are of low probability, but when they happen, how low the probability is meaningless compared to the fact that they occurred. And they, as we've seen over the past few days, cause billions of dollars of damage. No one had ever heard of the tremor or the fault lines running past Ridgecrest. How do they know? Wright Abbott says the steel truss only goes about, the rest has to be a positive pressure canvas cable roof. You said it was meant to be on the coast. Let me read your comment here. Let's see here. Wright Abbott says the steel truss only goes about 100 feet over the seats. The rest has to be a positive pressure canvas capable roof. You said it was meant to be on the coast with verse. Yeah, the design was originally meant to be, the original design was supposed to be open air. And Mark Davis basically borrowed it really ostensibly to save money. He liked the design, but it was also a matter of economics and time. Hey, we've got this thing. I like it. Let's use it. All right. Wasn't supposed to be open air in Vegas. No. In fact, the way when Sheldon Adelson and his people stepped in, they insisted on a dome stadium. It's actually written into the law that it has to be a covered stadium. Originally, I thought it was going to be a retractable roof, but it's not. but it's not. And one moment, please. No. Hold on a second, Eric. Hold on a second. Hold on one moment, please. One moment. One moment. Okay. And this should be... I thought it might be clearer, but it's not. So be it. Oh, no, it's clearing up. It's clearing up. It's wild. Okay. At any rate, it's not. Whatever. You can see me. Is it clear for you? Because it's kind of clear for me. It goes back and forth. At any rate, yeah, now it's clear for me. Okay, cool. Now it's clear. All right. Now, it's good. Hey, Barry Lee, how you doing? Hey, Barry, I'd like to have you on or special. I was thinking about you the other day, my man. Awesome. It's good? Cool. 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 Hey, back to our subject here. Eric Young, can they still bail this and stay in Oakland? Well, let's think about the unthinkable. Right now, they have all their documents signed, lease documents, and the only way that would ever happen, well, first of all, you have to take things step by step. Right now, the only deadline that is in their way with respect to stadium play is April 1st of next year with the Oakland-Alameda County Coliseum Joint Powers Authority. They have on April 1st, the Raiders have to let the JPA know whether or not they're going to stay in Oakland for another season, or cut and fish and cut. They will just cut and just go to Vegas because they believe the stadium is going to be finished by then. All right, that deadline is April 1st of next year. That deadline is April 1st of next year. Okay, so and Abbott says an open air stadium can't have that in Vegas. Retractable roof was not in budget. Kroenke got the funding for his truss roof all the way across the crew roof. Well, that Kroenke's design is different. I mean, it is, first of all, that stadium, every aspect of the Rams stadium is designed to be a play to protect it against a powerful quake. I mean, let's start with, first of all, my favorite approach to quake safe design. That's earth shelter design. You build the facility into the ground itself, and you let the ground be the shock absorber for you let the ground be essentially the shock absorber for the facility, rather than building on top of it with a frame and having it rattle apart. When I was in architecture school, I was really a fan of earth shelter design for two reasons. One, energy efficiency. The other, quake safety. So the Rams Stadium is light years ahead from that perspective of the Raiders Stadium. I don't think it's fair to compare them. And so I'm not, and Inglewood is, well, when you say blocks plural, that could be 32 blocks. Blocks are long. I said one block or two, all right? This thing is close. And so there are people who are trying to, equalize the Rams Stadium with this. Let me end that talk right now. You cannot equalize a stadium that's $5 billion and was specifically designed to withstand a large earthquake compared to this one, which was not, okay? You can't. So forget it. All right, just drop it. It's silly. It's ridiculous. The Rams Stadium was designed, in fact, the reason why they put in, I believe, 1.5 billion more was to make it completely quake safe, so they wouldn't have to worry about it. But with the Raiders, there was no such talk. Okay, this is not the first time I brought this up. I did so a year ago, and a lot of people got upset. I don't care. I mean, basically told everybody, hey, look, you got an issue down there and you have to address it. Okay? And the reason why I keep talking about this is because they keep trying to ignore these problems. These problems are not going to go away because the media doesn't pay attention to them, or the Raiders or the Stadium Authority or Warrens and McCarthy don't pay attention to them or pretend like they're not paying attention to them. That's stupid. That is straight out stupid. As far as I'm concerned, they're in a crisis situation down there. They try to make it look like nothing happened, okay, at all. And Wright Abbott says, Eric Young says, isn't the Coliseum built that way? To a degree, yeah. But, well, it's above, but it has a mound. But the Coliseum itself is, with its concrete structure, withstood without damage. I'm serious, without damage, the 6.9 on the Richter scale Loma Prieta earthquake. So for everybody that makes fun of that facility, I say, you know what you're talking about. That's a tough old bird. Seriously, the Coliseum is a tough old bird. It withstood quake after quake after quake. No one's pointing any cracks or anything like that. The plumbing issue was bad plumbing. Nothing to do with quakes at all. And yeah, Memorial Stadium is on a fault line. And so the Hayward Fault runs under Memorial Stadium. But see, if you take a look at Memorial Stadium is actually built into the side of the mountain. All right. Pretty neat. Right, Cowboy Rush says, simple. The Rams Charger Stadium is light years ahead of the Crumb in Vegas, and Wright Abbott follows up with, it's meant for egress also. You enter a stadium, go half down stairs, half go upstairs. Can't compete with $5 billion with $1.8 billion, you're right. No. Barry Lee says, Zinni isn't your college. I answered that. Cowboy Rustler adds, if I had to bet the Raiders will stay in Oakland next year, we'll make the announcement at the last minute. Yep. And Eric Youngwell says, I still love the Coliseum because of that. I do too. In fact, when Mark Davis asked me to come up with a plan to keep the Raiders in Oakland, a stadium plan, my original idea was to basically tear down the west side of it and then make the west side like the east side, so you have these bookends in this design, because the east side was designed as you would design a football stadium, but it needed to be upgraded, right? And the reason I did that was in part economic, but also structural, because I felt, hey, look, there are a lot of positive aspects to the strength of that design. I mean, the true physical strength of that design that should be replicated, not torn down. Mark said, no, I want a new stadium. And my point was, well, gee, you're going to get a new stadium, right? You're going to get something that's so strong, you're not going to have to worry about the kind of maladies that someone has to worry about with, say, Levi Stadium or anything else, anywhere else. There are problems in Levi Stadium's design in terms of circulation because they had to build it up and taper it. When you go up to the third deck concession area during the Super Bowl, it's narrow, and it is not a place you want to be. I went up there once, and I believe I made a video of being up there when I was at Super Bowl 50. I said, you know what? Never again. Because the bottom part of Levi Stadium, the main floor at the bottom, fine. But you get up there because it's tapered to produce this kind of A-frame to resist it, to allow it to be better quake resistant. But up there, it's like Smash City. Like, oh my God, get me out of here. Ugh. No way. Okay? No way. No way. You don't have that problem at the Oakland Coliseum by any means. And it's because of the way the structure was designed. My concern with Las Vegas Stadium is basically that overhang and the fact that you're sitting on this ground, and you heard the guy say that the ground is designed to reverberate. So what's going on? What happened if you get a quake and it starts to reverberate like that? My other issue is this. They said they did a thorough inspection. What did they find with respect to the foundation? Okay? Because if you have all of this foundation that's been impacted by the earthquake, is there anything down there that was damaged? We know for a fact that because Don Webb told one of the organizations, media organizations, that they actually had to take people down off the cranes. And in a video, I think it was Derek, forgot Mr. Reese, I believe it is, who contacted me. We were talking about how he noticed that the crane was taken down, that's on the lanai door side, and they basically dismantled it and they put it away. Did they dismantle it because it was damaged? Don Webb told the public that they were taking people down off working on the roof of the stadium and everything. They had to have them build the trusses on the ground. That in and of itself is an admission the stadium was impacted, okay? Donut says, should NFL Network do some investigation reporting? They don't do that. That's not, no. Don't even think for a moment. I don't know where you got the idea that the NFL Network does investigative reporting on the NFL. Take that out of your brain. It does not, okay? It straight up does not, all right? It's not a matter of whether or not they should, they just don't. The NFL Network is designed to be the public relations arm and the public relations slash media arm of the National Football League. That's what the NFL Network does, period. You're not going to get the NFL Network doing a critical expose on one of its own. And if it does, it's for a political reason. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but when it does, it's for a highly political reason and it's to be paid attention to. Brian Abbott says, Shea Stadium was super narrow and elevated. I was there in 2000 to see a Mets game right from LaGuardia. Thought I was going to fall. Cowboy Rush says, the NFL Network is legal network. It's not going to happen. No. It's not going to happen. And the ESPN is an NFL rights holder. So you're not going to get it from ESPN. So you see how in today's media, the world of possibilities of getting a decent investigative report start to narrow real quick, and why bloggers and vloggers are so important? Because they're not going to tell you the story. They have too much stake in it that such that they are not going to go out and make something they have an investment in look bad from their perspective. Now, if I'm a rights holder, I'm looking at it this way, and I'm in the media. I'm saying, hey, look, I want the public to know the truth about that because I don't want any negative happening there to fall back on my reputation as a news organization, because that's precisely what's going to happen. That is exactly what's going to happen. People are going to say, hey, you know what? They were implicit in not telling the truth. All right? Cabaret says, if you want to investigate, call CBS or NBC. Why? CBS and NBC are also NFL rights holders. All right? They're the only ones that I know that plays ball in the NFL from time to time. No, that's not going to happen unless something, the only time you're going to get that kind of reporting is if something truly definitely happens that cannot be mistaken. And then where, something, I hate to say it, tragic, because then it's unavoidable, it's news, people ask questions, you can't avoid it. And then they have a raison d'etre to step in. But you're not going to get an NFL rights holder that's going to break the story on a problem at a stadium that is part of the NFL system of which they hold significant media rights. You're not going to get that. Because the NFL is going to balk about it with them. It's probably in their contract not to do that. And I know for a fact, coming back to the NFL Network, I know for a fact that NFL Network people can't do that. Now, some of you might say, well, gee, explain the whole anthem thing and how they were critical, right? And that's easy. That's social. That's society. That's the players. Okay? It's not the league. It's the players. And they can very easily do what they did. They put it on the player. If you notice, the vast majority of negative news the NFL deals with has to do with players that the NFL can jettison, but not so much the NFL itself. Okay. So, that's the situation. All right. Donna says real sports. Uh, the problem with real sports is that by the time they get a hold of something, it's late. But you're not going to get anybody that's actually doing or going to do uh, hard investigative reporting with this stuff. And that's why, but thank God, I should say, we have the ability with digital media and smartphones to cheaply, quickly, and rapidly produce media that informs you what's happening. All right? Cowboy wrestler Russia today. That's a possibility. How about Zenny 62 Media? How about that? How about that? We got 43,000 subscribers. 8.6 7 point excuse me 76.8 million views. Hey, I have 15,100 videos now. Woo, that's a lot. I'll take my game any day, my man. Any time of day. Eric Young says Oakland's lawsuit against the NFL and Raiders is a major earthquake catastrophe, a worst case scenario. Yeah, it would be. Hey, John Akala, how you doing? Now, as to an earthquake is an act of God, you have insurance on it, so it's got to be replaced. And not only that, Las Vegas Stadium is a publicly owned entity. It's not owned by the Raiders. So, the Raiders would have to seek a new home. They wouldn't just sit back and wait. Meanwhile, Las Vegas would start rebuilding the stadium alone and making upgrades depending on what would happen to it. And depending on what happened to it, the Raiders would either stay in Oakland or rebuild, or stay in Oakland and wait for the Las Vegas Stadium to be rebuilt, or rebuild in Oakland. And that's a cloudy forecast, okay? There would have to be, it's hard to know what people will do under catastrophe like that. It really is. Because if what happens, if what we're talking about happens, that's a catastrophe. And all bets are off then as far as what somebody is going to do. It's very difficult to know. It's very difficult to say with certainty what the Raiders would do. They may feel honor bound, as I would. They may feel honor bound to Las Vegas to say, hey, you know what? We'll wait for them to rebuild and then we'll move back. All depends. Okay? It all depends. There could be a gigantic number of tech people that come along and say, hey, we'll invest. If there's an NFL strike by the players during that time, I think that's less likely. Okay? But on the other hand, the NFL is arguably the most powerful media content there is available today. And so as I think about it deeper, it's hard for me to see a tech organization that would love to have the NFL's eyeballs walk away from such an opportunity in Oakland. But on the other hand, hey, look, it would be considered a tragedy. Las Vegas would want to rebuild. Las Vegas is very economic development aggressive, and Las Vegans would hate to lose out to any city that way. So they would fight tooth and nail to rebuild and keep what they got. And that includes the Raiders, which they would see. So it'll be interesting, Cabrera says, Z, what do you think the state of the NFL in California will be once the Raiders leave the state? Poor, because they will be without, instead of having 4 teams, instead of having the Rams and the Niners NFC, and then of course the Raiders and the Chargers AFC, you would have 3 teams, and you would lose this crosstown marketing rivalry that always benefits sports teams regardless of the sport. Donis says, does Mark Davis hate Oakland? I don't think he hates Oakland so much as he likes other places more. Eric Young says, just made it a Super Bowl. Just make it a Super Bowl stadium. Yeah, just make it a Super Bowl stadium. But I don't think Mark Davis hates Oakland. I just think he likes other places more. I think that's the best way to put it. Yeah. Is this clear for everybody else, by the way? Because mine is a little fuzzy-wuzzy. But I'm wondering if maybe I should give it a refresh and see what happens, right? And now it's, I'll wait for what you are saying or telling me here. Yeah. But is it, how is the picture for you? Is it clear or is it fuzzy-wuzzy? Or is it slightly fuzzy-wuzzy? Don't ask me where I got the term fuzzy-wuzzy. I'm just asking. No response. So I guess it's clear. It's a little fuzzy? Okay. But Eric, for Eric Young, it's perfect. Okay, cool. So we have a mix of things. All right. All right. It's a little bit of buffering. Let me try. It ain't no good if it's messed up, man. There are 24 people here. Most of them are not complaining, so I guess we're okay. If it is a little fuzzy-wuzzy, try refreshing your screen. See what happens. Now, I'm going to do this. It's 1:20, and I am going to sign off on here. I have some chores to take care of for a client. We'll be back tomorrow to take on the subject of the NFLPA and the NFL. And I want to shift gears, and I want to talk about Wimbledon. Does anyone mind if I talk about Wimbledon? Maybe have, like, I want to talk about Wimbledon and the NBA, and I want to do it all in one swoop. I want to talk, I want to talk about different topics. So I'm trying to think of what the title of the show should be. Maybe like Zinni62 Talks Sports Live on YouTube, something like that. Like, you make it a generic one. The only thing I hate about doing that is I can't reach a keyword that I want to hit. All right. You want to talk about the Westbrook situation? Okay. Zinni's Sports Potpourri. I kind of like that. How about just Zinni's Sports Talk and then colon Westbrook, Coco, Wimbledon, right? And that kind of covers the bases. You know, we got Zinni Sports Talk, which only takes up Zinni Sports Talk, boom, right? And then the topics. That way, that makes it searchable. It's all about searchability for me. Yeah, searchability. Yeah. All right. I'll see everybody. And hey, you know what? Also, I got Comic-Con coming up, so I'm gonna do a Comic-Con preview. Wednesday night, I have a special guest that is Berkeley Council member Ben Bartlett to come on, and he's going to talk about a very innovative Bitcoin-based new program the city of Berkeley is announcing. So it's a different show at an earlier time, and I'm going to announce that formally tomorrow, which is really later today. I'm really excited to have Berkeley Council member Ben Bartlett on the show to talk Bitcoin. Spread the word. Cha-ching. All right. Good night, everybody. I'll see you.